All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Plausible here, and I'm back in action with another look at another movie that's come out recently. This one is more direct to DVD, and that, of course, is Justice League: Throne of Atlantis. Here we find the Justice League back in action not long after the events of Justice League War. This is actually a direct sequel, which is actually pretty rare for these comic book movies. Usually they're standalone stories. They don't continue on, but this one is more of a continuation. But the Justice League is really not a full-fledged league yet. Right now, they came together during war to stop the threat, but now they're back to their separate lives and they're doing their own thing. And only Cyborg is really left behind to watch over things and keep things together. Which brings us to our next guest, which is Arthur. Arthur is your basic human being, very strong, very impenetrable, loves the water, loves to talk to sea animals, even though he doesn't understand why he can do that. He gets himself into a lot of trouble, as you can tell, especially since the death of his father. Life has seemed to have lost all its fun and meaning, and he doesn't know what to do except for manning the lighthouse where he lives. All is well and good until recently a U.S. submarine was sank somehow, and the missiles are missing. The missiles, in turn, get thrown at Atlantis, which turns out is not a secret after all. The Atlanteans find themselves under the attack from the surface, which leads us to almost a war between the surface and the Atlanteans, trying to vie for survival and maybe supremacy. Who knows? So ultimately, it is up to Arthur to embrace his destiny as the king of Atlantis and take back the throne and make sure that war is averted. If you think of this as Justice League, the Throne of Atlantis, I wouldn't think of it that way. Think of it instead as Aquaman Begins. That's a better way of viewing this little movie here. So Throne of Atlantis was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed this a little bit more than most, but not as much as I would want to. The story is very straightforward, and it's too much of an introductory story to a character we already know. But to be honest, he's not a character that gets a lot of these, so maybe it's good, especially since, later on there's going to be the Batman versus Superman with Aquaman in it, looking a little bit different, but you get the point. And so maybe it's good to have this reintroduction to remind us who he is, where he came from, and how he got the way he did. The Throne of Atlantis is basically a see it, because ultimately there was nothing hugely wrong with it. If you saw other things like war, it's nothing that horrible, but it's also nothing that great. I miss the days of Batman Mask of Phantasm, Batman The Mystery of the Batwomen, stuff like that, or excuse me, Mystery of the Batwoman. Those were really good stories, mysteries, intense stories. I was really looking forward to the idea that this animated versions of these superhero movies could really take off and really be something. But unfortunately, we just don't seem to have that for some reason. I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but I wouldn't say it was horrible either. So it's definitely a see it. I enjoyed it, and I think you will too. All right, guys, that's it for me today. We'll see you at the theaters.